2, and 3, and we are on. Gosh, what a wonderful day. It's been very productive. Cleaned the apartment, cleaned myself, did a little self-care. Got a fade. Oh my gosh, guys, this fade right here that this new barber. I am so impressed. That I am definitely going back 1,000,000%. It was a really great experience. But let's dive into some software, guys. We are back with the Code Chronicles. This is episode, I forget, to be honest. I genuinely forget. I got a new LinkedIn profile picture looking great, either full stack engineer, either that or senior front end engineer, one of the two. I'll take either. Let's see. Let's pop that out. Gosh, what a charming photo, right? Look at that. Look at that smile. This was right before I got the haircut too. I knew I wanted to keep the curly locks in there. They looked great. Kind of wish I kept them a little longer, but I'll work out and shower, get the hairdo looking proper. But we are not here for hair, folks. We are here for software. No hair software. That's what we're here for. So, where do we dive in? I've done a few things behind the scenes. I've integrated Cypress a little bit for testing. I built the assigned task thing, but still having a problem with it. So maybe we'll dive into that. I did want to have a conversation with Chester today. I'm planning to talk about the project structure. We can see which who's assigned to the task. So Brian is here. That's the other photo of me, and then here's Ryan Pags for this photo. So those are actually two different accounts. Those are two different users that we are maintaining and monitoring. So let me pop this off screen really quick. Make sure we are good to go in our schema. Okay, cool. And I just wanted to ideate. I think today I either want to. What else did I do? I cleaned up the code base before talking about today. Yeah, let me talk about what I did behind the scenes. I also cleaned up the APIs. So we had all those folders. We have a task folder with more subfolders within it, so it's a little bit more maintainable. And then we also have a users folder with more things in it too. So I'm going to delete this stripe thing. We're not using it, so it's irrelevant. We have our users endpoint, our tasks endpoint, and we're keeping all of them like this. I think that's a really good structure. The next thing we want to consider is building out. Well, I think either polishing kind of the task endpoint and the task assign and all that stuff, or going for the projects endpoint. I kind of want to tackle the projects endpoint. Reason being is I have a feeling we're going to have to change some stuff, even though I just kind of underwrote the entire architecture. I kind of shifted a lot of things, cleaning up some of the stores. Like I said, moving all these endpoints wasn't huge actually, but we've had some of these architectural shifts within this series of the Code Chronicles, like making the mono repo was one huge shift, for instance. But the thing we want to consider now at this point is going to be the projects endpoint. Reason being is if we have to address some of our data structures with tasks, then we kind of want to tackle that issue sooner than later, folks. Sooner than later, you know what I mean? Grandma's already dead. That was dark. That got dark pretty quick. It was left field too. But so outside of dark humor, let's pull our heads back out of the darkness and come to light. We want to think about these things, right? Where we have teams and projects and tasks and users. So users and teams, I think these could probably come together at some point, to be honest. But projects ultimately have both of these things. The projects have users and tasks. So I don't know how to think about it right now, to be honest, but we're going to think about it. We're going to ideate on it for a sec, because basically I want users to be able to see their task associated to their project. And then the team is obviously associated to the project as well. So there's going to be a lot of functionality we need to build, like invitation links to say, hey, you're invited to this team. I don't know how we're going to do that either right now. As of today, I have no idea, but we will figure it out. That is what we will do. I do have a meeting planned tonight with Chester. Great guy. This is just water, by the way, folks. This isn't wine. It's 1:52. It's too late for me to be drinking. Okay. All right. Enough of the hooligan jokes. But let's think about how we want to do this, right? So projects I want to construct with, well, let's think. Projects, they're going to have a project ID, right? So I want a team to be able to have multiple projects, or even a user to be associated to multiple projects by the end of it. The thought there is like, if I'm on this Kanban page, maybe ideate with me, visualize with me, that there's like a drop down right here that someone can like click, and it would be like all of their projects, right? So if this is like, maybe I have the Code Chronicles project that I'm working on, and then also I have, let's say, some blockchain application. I don't want to have to log into a new user, a new account. I just want to manage it all here. I want to keep it easy. So that's the idea of that kind of feature is an easy way to manage the projects. And I think we're going to do a lot of it here. This will kind of be the teams and projects page, I think, but we don't really have a build for it. I don't know if the let's see, let me pull up the UI Zerd deal. I don't know if the UI Zerd has the appropriate build that we will need to manage the team and also manage the project itself, right? Where you can kind of see bird's eye view, how many tasks are associated to the project. Settings page, don't really care for right now. We've kind of already started to dabble with it. We'll not really worried about that. But this is going to be more of like that projects page, I would say. One of these two. Notifications, we'll put a pin in for right now. We have this roughly built out. Project dashboard, I guess notifications would be associated to projects. So maybe we'll see more clarity by building the project itself. But my mindset goes beyond just the dashboard part. I think we're also going to need a sign up flow for projects. Like, I'm building a project. Is it just for me, or is it just for, or is it a team? Is it a one-man team or a multi-man team, right? Then I see some sort of like flow where it's like first page, is it just for me or for multiple people? Okay, boom, there's the answer. And then boom, give me your project description and like headline, the name of the project, right? And then out of that, we'll send off a request that builds the project. I'm kind of just ideating, guys, and we don't have any flow. There's no onboarding for that. There's no flow for that, but we're gonna have to make one. So let's think about this. I think this could kind of be our project's dashboard. Some blend between, I think, this and maybe the notifications we can kind of steal inspiration from, because I could see this new updates. Instead of it saying new updates, this could say projects, and then it would show the project, right? And maybe that's like the project header. So that'd be like my blockchain application 101, right? And then, task descriptions, whatever it might be, right? So John Smith, what if, hear me out. So this is kind of like your personal dashboard. What if projects had their own dashboard? Meaning this would be like my blockchain application, so I can click into it from here. So I'd have a list of projects here, click into it, and then it goes into this where it's like your project has kind of like task count, teams associated with it, completed task, hours spent on it, which we can measure from how long the task, maybe were first assigned to when they got completed, divided by like weekday of 40 hours, So we're not accounting for 160 hours a week, but accounting for 40 hours a week. Maybe categories completed or something, or categories worked on, right? We vaguely mentioned that earlier. So, Or do we make it a user dashboard and just do this and have the projects here? I don't know, folks. I really don't know. But I do know we're going to need a sign-up flow for projects, some sort of dashboard for projects. That's ultimately what I do know. So let's go ahead and build out some of these things, and we'll see. We'll just kind of build it as we fly it, or fly it as we build it, one of the two. And it's going to be some blend between these two, I think, for the dashboard. And we are just going to pick pieces and kind of compile them as needed. So for starters, we could just start with a basic project card, kind of like our add task columns, or our base column, where it says add task at the bottom. We can, I guess, steal this where it's just project. And I just want to be able to build a project. How about this? I think the goal today, build a project card. So this thing where it shows our projects, I can click on this and it goes to the project onboarding flow where we can build a project and sign up and fill out all your needs for the project, because we're going to need to decipher if it's a one-man project. Boom, then we'll just go straight to the project next page of like, here's your project header, project description, boom, build the project, right? But if it's a multi-man team, then we're going to have a auxiliary step in between, a tertiary step. So there'll be 3 in between, instead of it going from project name or one-man team, multi-man team. That's question 1, onboarding page 1, right? It'll then go to, if we click multi-man team, it'll then go to who's the team leader and then who do you want to invite to the project, I think will be that page. And then it'll go to building the project. So, but then we also need a way to invite people on the project somehow over here. So invite collaborators or something like that seems to be appropriate, I guess. So maybe this setup isn't horrible. I do think a lot of it is what we'll roughly model. Golly, folks. Golly. Oh, that grandma joke earlier was just straight out of left field. You know what I mean? It was just brutal. Just savage. Okay. So I'm going to steal this user, and we are going to say project. And each one of our projects, they're going to have a project ID. Well, actually, before we start coding, is that going to be adequate? So that's the UI UX of it that we thought of, but let's think about the data approach for now. Projects all need IDs, names, and maybe descriptions, like a bio about the project. Hey, this is my blockchain project. I'm building something on Web3 using Ethers.js, boom, boom, boom. And then also, here's my personal project, the Code Chronicles. It's a YouTube channel. I'm just using this to track video, whatever, right? Like this doesn't just have to be for software, right? This is a project management system. So if you're building something outside of software, you still should be able to use this, is the end goal, right? So it's just an organization system, right? A project management system. So let's think about that and how can we curate for that where it extends beyond software. It obviously includes software predominantly. Chester gave me some ideas with webhooks and a few other things I won't mention now. We will cross that bridge in the future. But let's think about the data. So ID, name, bio for the project. Then we also need users associated to it. So we're going to build either a compound key for it or a relational thing in our Prisma table. And then we also have task associated projects. What we could do, because that's a many-to-many to a many-to-many relationship, meaning our users have tasks, our tasks have users, our projects have users, our tasks have projects, which sounds like a lot of complications, but it does allow for a lot of flexibility where we can do whatever we want with the data at that point. But the other idea is to talk to Chester about it because he's a staff backend engineer, so he's really good at data structures, obviously. So because if projects have tasks have users and users have tasks, it then means we don't, well, No, we're always actually no. We're gonna have to do that first way of multiple compound keys because users belong to projects. Tasks also belong to projects, and then also tasks can have users and users can have tasks. So I don't think there's an easier way around it unless Chester can enlighten me. But that is going to be roughly, I think the approach for it from a data standpoint, right? Is we're going to get messy, folks. Things are going to get bumpy. Going to get bumpy, folks. But let's just start with initializing our project deal. I think that's easy enough where we can just print out projects and get the UI UX. And then somehow we're going to have to put tasks associated to projects. Wonder if we could do this, right? User ID, task ID. Okay, reference. Nope. We'll cross that bridge in a moment. Let's just get this projects thing into our database. How about that? And we will build for that UI UX experience today. So it's just going to be this card with projects above it. I think that's good enough for now. Where there'll be plenty of work for that. So let's just go ahead and do that. Open our app directory. Haven't done that in a while. Look at that. It's kind of neato. So we've got our top nav, and then we also want to build our project card, I'll say. So background. Actually, you know what? I'm not even going to build it out like that. I'm just going to go to the task table and steal, I believe it's this line of code. So let's do that. Boom. Should be here. Whenever our server refreshes, we should see that soon. Guys, I love the Code Chronicles so much because I can just like do the software thing without having to curate stuff too much. I will put out curated content here shortly as well, where it's more distilled and refined and proper. But I really do enjoy, like, you know, this free flowing kind of ideating, figuring it out and building software. I'm like, this is literally how the experience was at Babson, where we'd talk, hey, what's our plan here? Let's plan a meeting. Let's meet with these guys. Let's meet with this team. And then let's code. Let's build diagrams and let's draw out the code. And it was actually much more granular before coding. But obviously me building this YouTube channel is just me, so I can't really bounce off people. I think down the road it'd be cool to have like a team of software YouTubers where we all get together and kind of, we'll say this will be the project name. How about this? But if we had a thing of YouTubers where everybody could get together and sorry, I need to look at this UI UX real quick. We just need the name, right? And a new project button. How about that? That's easy enough. Easy peasy. But a bunch of YouTubers that would get together and, like, you know, or software engineers. It doesn't have to be specifically YouTubers or anything like that, but it would just be fun to kind of build stuff hackathon style and you know, figure it out as you go type thing. Just get a group of smart minds, put them together, see what they build, right? It's the name of the game. Name of the game, folks. All right, let's see. I'm trying to adjust this back padding thing. It's a little bit much, but okay, so we got the button here. I'll actually just pop that in right here. Boom. And I believe we have custom class, so we could go background, BG background, primary, I believe. It's the button colors we've been using for the buttons. So this will be add project for the button. The custom function we are going to do here isn't going to be very much of a function. It's going to be more of a link, actually. So really, we could either do router or just import the link from next link and wrap the button with it. So I'll just do that. And this will have an href, and this href will point to our what's going to be project sign up flow, I guess. And then we need to build, we'll build that out in a sec, but not right now. Well, or exactly right now is when we'll build that out. Because now that I realize that's actually the exact next step we need to do. So let's do that. Let's go ahead and build a folder for it. Boom. And we're going to build our page.tsx. Pags? Who is that guy? Who is that guy, folks? Okay, so base, what do we call it? Or this is going to be project sign up flow. And what a flow is, not to overcomplicate it, not to make it all crazy. It's just that thing when you log into an application and it just breaks your form up into multiple steps, right? So it's like when you go on Uber and you're like, click this restaurant. And you're like, okay, I want a Chipotle burrito. And then at the bottom of the screen, it's like, okay, it'll be $12. And you click it, it's like $12. Like now you've started the checkout flow. That's the checkout flow when it's like, okay, $12. Do you want anything else? Like another pop-up comes up. Do you want anything else? No? Okay, boom. Where do you want it delivered? You know, and then it's like, okay, here's my address, this, that, and the other. And then it goes to the next page. Goddamn Skeeter right there. I'll tell you what, I got it out for him. I got it out for him, folks. I will tell you what. But that's all the flow is. It's just that like multi-step process of, you know, whatever you want to describe that as, I guess is what you could call flow. Some people call it a sign-up flow. Some people call it, some people call it a flow. Some people call it an onboarding. And we're actually going to have a different layout for this too. It's not going to be the in-app layout. It's going to be similar to the in-app layout, but we don't want the sidebar actually there while we're doing the flow layout is what we'll call it. So boom, don't need the sidebar. Go on, don't need that. And we just need to import that now. Instead of the in-app layout, we want our flow layout. So we go to flow.layout instead, and we swap out the in-app layout for our flow layout. And we should just see just a dark screen. Yep, and that's exactly what we want. So this is where all of our stuff can be. We probably also want it centered, I imagine. So the base wrapper. But I don't want to mess with the wrapper, and I don't want to make a flow wrapper. We'll just do it here. We'll say min height screen, flex call, justify center, item center, get that thing dead in the middle, right? Boom, there it is. Guys, I was thinking about building a video on how to center a div. I know it's like rude, but there's like 5 different ways to do it, and I think it'd be really interesting to just build like a 3-minute blip or 5-minute video of centering a div. Might be a good idea. Okay. I just saw a little pop-up. I don't want to use that. Please stop asking. Whenever my phone connects to the laptop, it always pops up with that. Then it stops recording. It freaks me out, especially while I'm recording. Every time I'm like, oh no, here it goes. You know, I just did all that work and now it's gone. You know, but let's go ahead and enter project name, right? Let's just go ahead and start building this thing out. So enter project name. We want to import base inputs, We need an input down here. That's correct. Boom. We need custom class, BG, background, primary. That's what we need. Oh, no, we want the secondary actually. Or we want one of those card things. And we actually do want it to be a primary background, right? Primary, boom. And then we also need that button again, base button, base button. Here we go, just like that. Get that thing in there. Boom. Next step, how about that? Same deal, custom class. Next step, and we want a gap between all of these bad boys, right? We don't want to mess with all that stuff, guys. So we go gap -8. Might be a little too much. Gap -4. The project name. Okay. So this is a really, really, really tiny flow. Obviously we want more, but there's a few ways to do this. We could build out all the steps here and kind of have it be a state-based flow. We could have it be a data-based approach, which I guess state and data is roughly synonymous. Or we can have it kind of directed in. There's a lot of ways to skin the cat. We could have multiple things like project sign-up flow, page 1, right? Page 2, page 3, right? But I think what I'm going to opt for, because it should only be like a 3-step flow maximum, or maybe 4, right? If we really want to get crazy with it, is I just want to handle it all here. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have step of flow, or like which step of flow, right? I'll just put step of project flow, and then we'll say set step of project flow, right? So, and this is all this state is going to do. It's just simply going to be a number, and it's going to say, are we on step 0? Are we on step 2? Are we on step 1? Or we could even make it a string, either or. And this could say, we could always default to project name. And in fact, we can make it an enum where it'll either be the project name, it'll either be the project description, right? It'll either be the teams page, right? So these are just going to be the steps we go on as like step 1, step 2, step 3, right? You know how like Uber Eats has like checkout 1, checkout 2, checkout 3, right? Where you like, are you finished? Do you like last minute? Do you want anything else? Like that would be one of these pages here, would be one of these steps, if you will. And the button itself can just simply change this. Well, we'll make it. I want to make it number based I'll make it number based first to show you guys the simplicity of it. How about this? But we're going to end up doing string because if we do number based, we're going to have to skip steps, which I guess wouldn't be a big deal. But I don't know. I think string based state can really be easy as well. So I take advantage of it. So we will just say step of flow project plus 1, I believe. So, and all we want to do is take our packets of information, if you will. There's a few ways to do this. So we have use state. The reason why it's thrown a fizz because we're using the client now, which I was told this at the Next ATX meetup. All the client is just, or state is just data on, it's like a database on the client's computer. That's it. And when he said that, I was like, oh my God. Like it just made sense. I don't know. I'm paraphrasing it terribly. But there was a guy there who said it, and I was like, oh, he is so right. He is so right. But the cool thing with React is we can do this. We could do our render templates or our template functions, right? One of the two render functions, one of the three, I guess. Say const, we'll say like step 1 of the flow, right? Step 1, how about that? I'll make it really, really verbose right now. And this is just going to be all that stuff, all that HTML. And boom, we will say step 1 of the flow. And we will only show this if step of the flow equals 0. Show that, right? Better yet, we can also make it step 0 of the flow, or start at step 1. Show step 1. And I'll show you guys, and we're going to build step 2 of the flow, which is just going to be when the step flow is number 2, show the second step. And we also need other validations too. It shouldn't just be this simple, but this will be step 2 of the flow, and this will be like enter project description, right? And maybe we have a few other things. Just for now, I'll just show you guys like, so we have step 1, boom, and then we have like step 2. That's all the flow is, right? And then let's say step 2, instead of our base button here, let's say we just have a link or a button that after a success state will fire off our router to go back to the dashboard. But for now, I'll just do a link just to get down what I'm trying to get across. So boom, link, href, and what else could we do here? We could say backslash, is it projects? I think is what our thing is. So we have step 1, enter project name, step 2, it'll be like complete or something, or like all done. One of the two, right? Finished, complete project. Boom, and then we should go back to projects page, and this is going to be the rough circuit for that, if you want to think of it that way, right? So we click on it, boom, you have your projects flow. Maybe we'll have a back button up here or something, but I guess people can always click back if they want. But that is going to be the flow. Boom, and then that'll fire off a function. When that function posts the project, we'll then submit and push the router to the projects page. And it should be, boom, right there. So I think if we could tackle all of that right now, that's a pretty successful day. I could either wrap the episode up right smack dab now, or I could build that out and then we wrap it up. Let's build it out. How about that? And we are going to... And there's other tricky things that I've picked up with the state and stuff. You could have variables that are placeholders in the flow. So you actually don't have state. You just have, instead of me saying like project name here, this is gonna get really interesting, right? And it could be a completely extra step that you don't need to do. But I've done it for really large flows. So instead, because think about it this way, if we have like a 20-step form, right? If we have like project description, then you have to add all of these things. Like imagine you have a 20-step like form, and you're going to end up with like 40 different pieces of state. So what I have done in the past is actually I just say first answer and then set first answer, right? So if a step and then I do like second answer, third answer, fourth answer, it's kind of a abstract concept, but you can literally just use these state variables for each step of the flow you're in. So let's say your input on change, right, would be, we just need one answer, right? We just need literally like one answer, right? One selection, right? Set one answer, whatever we want to call it. And then after on the next step, you can use the same thing as long as you just clear it out. So let's say this is E, right? E.target.value, and you can run all of your validations associated to it. You just need to, the stretch part becomes the method, right? Where you say function submit answer 1, right? Then you have your answer. So it can get as meta as we need it to get, if you want to call it this way. And this would be like our endpoint here, right? Where we fire off we'll say like pretend it's the task store, or this will be the project store for us, and then post project, if you will. And then after this, we just set one answer to blank. And then now for submit answer to, right? So again, if you have a huge flow, instead of having, you know what I mean, instead of having all this ridiculous state of like, you know, you're going to end up with 50 different variables. If you have a 20-step form, you could easily have 50 different variables. You just have like 4 variables. If the max number of answers you have is 4, like if at any step of your flow, if there's only like 4 places to thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, just have 4 pieces of state that hold your answers, you know, and then if you need a 2-answer thing or a 3-answer question, you already got it. You already got it. You don't need to set custom pieces of flow. You know what I mean, folks? So let's say this is like, we'll say 1 answer, right? Let me make it clear for you guys so you guys can kind of see the thinking behind it. So let's say project, post project, and maybe this one is update project with like the name or something, or the bio. You could just pop in 1 answer and 2 answer here. And these are just placeholders. They're just simply placeholders for whatever you need. So if instead of us describing the state exactly as we need it, saying, you know, the project name and then the project description, we're obviously, we're very lucky because we're only going to have like 6 things. But let's say, you know, the project is like 70 things and these are all named differently. Like you only need 4 or 5 different steps throughout the flow where you can start tackling all those bits of information. Because the flow might only ask you to sign up these 3 first, and then the next step it'll ask you to sign up these 3, and then these 3, or whatever it might be, right? So it's just a cheeky way to think about it instead of, you know, I guess the other side of those, then you do have maybe more methods, but if need be, you could stash the methods in the buttons even. So there's a lot of ways around it, right? There's a lot of ways to do flows where it's not as stretched out, I guess, if you will. But that is one trick that I certainly picked up and thought about. Another engineer I know, he builds the components themselves. And then he kind of has this auxiliary step, like this auxiliary component that manages where you're at. In the flow, I like it all on the same page personally, but he would have this be its own base component step 1, you know, and then this would be base component step 2, or vice versa. Base component step 1 for this one, then base component step 2. And then he'd actually just plug them in here, you know, in an array, and just have this page only monitor the step that it's on. And then all of these individual pages where we built base component step 1 and base component step 2, that would handle all your validations and all that stuff. So there's a few different ways to cut the pie, and you know, there's no one right answer, you know, but there's also, you know, no one wrong answer either. It's multiple wrong answers. But because it's a smaller flow, we are going to zoom out of all of that, and we are just going to come back to saying, well, we're just going to build the few bits of state that we need. So one bit of state we need is obviously going to be the project name, just to get this piece of data, the project name, and the project description. So we'll just build those 2 for now, and then down the road, if we do need to do much larger flows for whatever reason, we'll recross the bridge and rebuild some stuff. But for now, I think this is simple, and we don't really need to build too much, I don't think. We don't need to overbuild, right? So let's see. So method, we are going to, let's see, submit step of the project flow. This is actually going to be a function instead of a method that controls just the project flow step, because we also need to We also need to, what's it called, validate the answer and do a few things. We need to do more than just push to the next step of the project. So handle project name. We have that, so it will do that, and then we are ultimately going to have a project store, right? Dot post project or something like this, right? And we'll pass in the project name. So either we want to take it directly from the state or we want to pass it into the function, one of the two. I think either way kind of doesn't necessarily matter. But this seems to be consistent with how we're building. So we'll do that. We're obviously getting an error here because we don't have projects store. So let's go ahead and build for that. Let's collapse this and build our endpoint as well. So project dash store.tsx. Let's get the user store. It seems to be an easy one to model, right? We'll say project store. And this will be, we can get rid of all of our functions, or at least most of them. We'll say get projects. And we'll have post projects. I think that's all we'll be able to get to today. And we don't want a post user. Let's get rid of all this stuff. Profile. We might use state. We'll see. Use user. Don't need it from clerk. I don't think. We don't need this. Don't need this. Okay. And we don't need user. We need projects. So we'll say const projects and then set projects. And we may want to, yeah, we'll want to set multiple projects. That seems to be appropriate. So I believe we ran Prisma, so we should have our project type from Prisma client, and we'll pop it into our use state type right here. But it's going to be an array of them because it's going to be multiple. So let's think about that. Let's go boom, get projects, boom. So we'll have a post, and then we will have a set projects, right? It will be response.data, and this will be API/projects. We need to build that endpoint, and I don't think we'll actually need to do anything there except for, yeah, because it's going to be a folder, and then this will be our file with the new way we're structuring the endpoints. So we have our folders to organize our projects and whatever to organize our endpoints, and then within the folder we can have a projects endpoint or a task endpoint or one of these ID ones, whatever it might be. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. We're going to get task and post them, or not task but projects. And all it's going to be right now is just simple data is all it's going to be. So we'll steal the crypto UUID. We do want that project ID. We'll pop that in here. We're going to get some red underlines real quick. Not a big deal. Project ID. We don't need the task ID. We will need the project name from the body. And I'll pass that in here. Cool. So, and it won't be post task. It'll be post project. And then we'll have get projects, which will be, we don't need all of this right now. We're definitely gonna have to mess with it though, where we're gonna want the tasks and users associated with it, which might be easier to do on Prisma than we think, or than I think right now, I should say. We also don't want to call this task anymore. We want to get rid of that verbiage here. We'll call it all projects. Boom. Yep, perfect. And then task here as well. We want project just for good naming. So boom, our endpoint is built, looks like. I'm just giving it a double glance real quick. I think we're good. So I'm going to get rid of this user ID. We don't need that. We don't need to pass in that payload. What the project endpoint is going to take is going to be the project name. It's not going to be post projects. It's actually just going to be post project. And yeah, I think that's actually it. We just need to copy the same path. So it's going to be projects. Oh, we do need to pass in the project name. That goes to the body. And boom, export that function. So I think that's all we will need, to be honest. Let me just run Prisma one more time to make sure we are good. This won't do the second step of building out the bio, but we should be able to get the name at the very least. We're basically doing a simple post function and get. So let's build for that. Let's get rid of the second step, the project description for now. I'll just delete it out. We'll say boom. We understand how the flow is going to work. We just want to see everything working before we get too invested into the flow. Specifically, step 2, I think, is going to be an interesting one, or the potential step 2, I should say. So project store, let's go ahead and instantiate this. We'll say store, const project store, and boom. Should be good to go. We have post project right there, post project name. And in the flow, we're not going to do step of the flow. We will put the step of the flow to 1. We'll just keep it there. But what we're going to do with the button is either we should wait on a success. We shouldn't just make it a link. We really should use some sort of navigation or router. I'm vaguely unfamiliar with it, so if it's router.go or something, or oh, I need to instantiate it. So let's see, let's get our router going. Const router, boom, and I don't know if it's like router push, router forward, router push, I think it is, and then router push, we'll go back to the projects page. And we're only going to do this if this comes back as successful. If success, do this, right? Or better yet, I could say if no success, return. And let's just leave that bit of state out for now. We don't need it. Okay, so what it is right now, and I don't know if this is set up proper, but let's just get to our project's endpoint and see if in our database we could post to a project from here. I'm gonna refresh npm run Prisma. Let's see what the error was or the update was needed. Sure, we can go ahead and update that. I thought we did earlier. So as you can see in our Taskify thing, if we refresh, we don't see projects here yet, but we want to see that. So that's going to be the goal here. If we've done everything successful, if we go to our projects endpoint and if I pop in project ID here, or project name, excuse me, we should see it all. We'll say new project, boom. Let's see. I don't even want to do the router quite yet. I just want to make sure we are working. So I'm going to go next step, 1 error, boom. That's exactly what we want to see. See what the issue is. Uncaught, 1,000 errors, 1,000 messages. That's no good. Webpack not defined. That ain't no good, folks. Let's clear this out. I think we're back up in action. Let's say new project. Try one more time. Uncaught page.tsx. So let's get rid of the use router, or I'll just console log router for now. So it just gets rid of the red squiggly. So test, boom, go to the project store, see what we're working off here. Running, see if that's working right. No, we're not even getting to the store, folks. Okay, so it's not our schema. I know we regenerated that. Let's get rid of the router and the navigation for now. All this is doing is it should just be a post function, just a simple post. Okay, I didn't see any errors. Test, we saw it pop up in the backend, which means our store is working, which means maybe our backend is working. Let's see. Let's refresh. Nice. And we got projects popping up here. Awesome. Awesome. So there's our project ID, folks. Boom, bada, bing. Let's get that router in action, and then let's try to show it on that card on the front end and then wrap it up there. I think this is going to be a great deal. It sounds like it might be working, right? So in this, we definitely want use effect. Use effect, boom. Let's see, boom. Life cycle. I just want to pop that in. Support to stay organized. And we also need our project store. Import project store. Let's see if we get a little love. We do. Nice. So store, cons, project store equals boom. And in our use effect, all we want to do is just pop in our project store .get projects. That's it. And the state's already handled in the store, so we don't need to do any .then or .catches or anything like that here. We've already handled it in the store. We just need to fire it off wherever we want the thing. And ultimately, this is actually all going to exist within this component. This is going to end up being a component. So right now, it's just on the page, which is fine. But we're going to end up making it actually a component here. This div to div, I would say roughly, is probably going to be the component. So we can actually go ahead and probably do that, but I won't for now. That's fine. Or I will. Why not? Why not, folks? But I just want to get the project visual there first. So project name. We should be able to see it on the home page, or at least some of the projects. And I can even put a div around it. And we're going to need class name. We could say background red 100. Say margin.2 just to give it some space, and it'll be ugly, but we'll be able to see it. And the key is going to be project.project ID, folks, or index. You could do either or. But let's go to the sign up flow and let's get that router back in here. Let's see how to work that thing. Use router. Oh, we actually need to instantiate it first. I forgot. So boom. Router.push, and we will say, what was it, folks? Projects page. I probably want to rename it to projects in our Prisma as well. And I think, can we just await it? Will that work? Folks, we just flossed right through some code. That was beautiful. That was just absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. Let's see what we have here. Use. Oh, it needs to come from navigation. That's right. Some sort of navigation thing. Might be use navigation or something. I forget. Use route. Let's see. Use router. Boom from navigation. Okay. Boom. But gosh, that was beautiful. That was absolutely gorgeous. So let's say project name 2. Project name 2. Let's go next step. Okay, looks like it wasn't as pretty as we thought. God loves to humble us, you know. Boom, look at that. Oh, it did work. Did work. Unreal. Unbelievable, folks. You pray for the man and he comes through. He comes through. I swear. I swear. So let's put this into a component. And we'll call this base projects card or something. Base projects. How about that? Base projects table. Because we got base tasks table. So we'll go ahead and build that. So base projects table. Usually I copy and paste, but I already have something in the copy and paste. I've always wanted to build another key command where I could hold two copy and paste for this specific reason, because I have all this boom in the copy and paste there. So would be awesome to have two, so I could just floss through even more code, but you can only do so much, I guess. Base projects table, boom, bada, bing. And what else do we need? We need our link and our store. Actually, I'll just go to the, not the sign up flow, that's fine. We'll go back there in a sec, but we need that. At the top of our file, we also need the use effect. And we're gonna steal all of this. State data, boom, boom, boom. Let's go ahead and just delete it out, and we're getting an error with the components and store because we are already in the components folder, so we don't need to go that far. And then I think stores is just one layer up. So boom, boom, boom. We now have ourselves a server-side component, folks. Just like that, just like that. So let's see if we're working. Let's go ahead and run dev on all this and see what we are working with. Let me go back to the projects page. Double check base project table. Okay, looks good, looks good. Looks good, folks. So it looks like we can sign up. And let's clean this up. Boom, boom, boom. And I guess we could pass in the button state to see the loader, I think. I think if we go to the project store, we can say const. Actually, we'll just go to the task store and steal the code from there. If you ain't stealing, you ain't trying, right? Set task state, we'll just call it set project state, right? Project state, and set project state right here, capital P. Oh, I should have gone to the task store one more time and seen what success failed. That's it, okay. Oh, that set timeout is important. Got it, got it. So boom, and boom. And boom. We're getting all those underlines because obviously that doesn't exist. This set task state doesn't exist, and we need to reset task state. I didn't realize that was something. Something there, but we won't call it reset task state. It'll actually be reset project state. That's what it'll be called. Boom. So now we have that project state. We can see when things are being loaded and idle and this, that, and the other. And I will just pass that into our button, which I believe we have a button state, which can just be our project store.project state, I believe. So now when we go to our flow, let's go to our table real quick. I don't like seeing those red things. I thought we changed it. But now when we go to the flow and go to sign up and put in a project name, we should see a little loader going like loading, 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 and then shoot us off when it's done loading. We might even see a success state and then it shoots us off. But 3 errors. Let's see. BG slate. Don't like it. Don't know why it's doing all this. Let's just go ahead and background primary P-3. And okay, that's good enough for right now, right? Or I guess if we really want to do it, right, we could say width full. I think it'll take it out to 450 pixels potentially. Or not, but if we do this, I know it'll make it wider. And we can say rounded. I always do the 80 pixels. Seems to be consistent. We can do that, or MD for these little tabs or something, but I can get rid of this project name. We have the actual project's names here. Team task, we don't want that. These are projects. And let's add a project. Let's see. Base button, add project. Oh, we got redirected. Took us a little too long. Say new project 3. No loading. All right. Well, that was unfortunate. I really thought we would see it. 100%. I was like, we're in there. We are in there. But let's see. Test again. Unbelievable, folks. Unbelievable, right? Project store, project state. Oh, you know why? I wonder if we didn't do it on the right one, on the right endpoint. We might have done it on fetching the projects, but not posting the projects. Oh, and that's exactly what we did. So it's on fetching the project, but not posting it when we need it to be on the post. But perfect. Okay, let's rerun the server. Just make sure everything's up to date. We'll try one more time, and then we'll wrap it up there, folks. That was a blast of an episode, right? And I need to go run the hill. I need to go work out. Need to get on the move, folks. Need to get on the move. All right, add project. Let's see. And then we'll also lint and push to the repo to make sure we're all squared away and good to go. So add project. It's not really liking the redirect. We'll have to look into that. Oh, there it is. Popped up, but I hit refresh. Let's see. So we'll try. We might have to look into that. That's a little bit strange behavior. Add project. It should just be popping us over pretty instantaneous. But so test 4. Loading, success, nice. It's exactly what we wanted, folks. So thank you so much for watching the Code Chronicles. We absolutely blasted through a lot of software and concepts today. And here's all of our projects here. We'll expand upon them. I'm going to talk with Chester, of course, about them. But this whole application it's starting to it's becoming the real deal. You know, I'm taking it serious. And oh, one last thing before we pop off, we will run push, which goes through our linting command to lint all the code, make sure all the code quality is there. Then let's see if it passes. Maybe. Oh, we got projects warnings. Not a huge deal, just warnings, no errors, just console statements. So let's go to console log. Boom. We'll get rid of that. Projects. Let's console log that. But it goes through all of the just linting commands that we have, and then out of the linting commands. Oh, this needs to be refactored too. This is getting hugely nasty on the base column page. So we might end up pulling out the base column because this is our task card component that I was working on last night, and you could just see it's just something nasty at this point, like just downright nasty. Yeah, we want smaller things. We want stuff like this where it's going to be a lot more maintainable. But obviously our card components have a lot of stuff going on them. They have assignees. They have a bunch of other stuff. So it's getting pretty dirty. At least from a maintainability standpoint. So I do one day want to lighten the load on the base column. Yeah, because it's 300-400 lines of code, right? Yeah. So that'll be on the to-do list. That'll be on the back burner. And everything else though is it's coming along. You know, it's becoming the real the real deal. And I think, let's see. I just want to show, okay, boom. I just want to show the linting process. It goes through the lint, obviously cleans everything up outside of maybe warnings, but any errors, it'll actually stop the process. So a console statement, not a huge deal. In the base column, I'll leave that for now. And then it goes through a type check. The type check is just making sure all the data is still there. And typically, if you could pass a type check, most of the time, I would say the production can still be built. And then we actually push it through a build process. So if it passes the type check and builds, usually it's like it's going to build on production too. So yeah, so that's our rough pipeline, kind of our Git command, if you will. Down the road, maybe we'll put a testing deal in there too, which would be awesome. So maybe it'll lint, test, then type check, or lint, type check, then test. One of the two. We'll figure out where to put it, but basically that kind of would be your CI/CD pipeline to some degree, right? Yeah, and then we'll at least that would be a much smaller version, much more tame version of a CI/CD pipeline versus like having a group of engineers upload to a repo. That repo just introduces like new components slowly to the web application, to its client base, but like 5% of people at a time or something. That's like a true CI/CD pipeline with much more stuff and testing and integrations involved in it. But I think overall we are getting there, folks. We really are. I'm very proud of this. So stuff like this, the lint to type check to build, and then pushes to the repo after all of that. So that's our, again, maybe I'll pull up that package.json. Here's that command here where we're going to commit to clean code. And yeah, it's coming together. It's coming together, folks. So stay tuned for the next episode. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your time, especially if you made it this far. Thank you so much. You are literally the person I do this for. So I appreciate you. Cheers.